Hi, guys. How are you? We are Las Comadres, a segment of Voces Unidas here on KROJ 101.5 FM. We are produced by Valley Views SFE Media and Voces Unidas en Pacoima. I'm Comadre Diosy.
Comadre Maria.
Yeah, we're here, just chatting it up. We had quite the conversation earlier, right before we went off air, and kind of got to catch up ourselves here and kind of update a little life update, you know. But we're here now with our guests, and it's been such a journey these last 3 months, that we've been on air with y'all for our second season of Voces Unidas with KROJ and Valley Views. And so as we, come to a close to this like first segment of Roots and Resilience that we had, it's like, it's been nice to kind of just like reflect on all the guests that we've had on, and today we're joined by some of the guests that we had on earlier, and we were, it's a couple, and I don't know why I'm teasing it because I posted it on, Instagram. But if you're not tuned in with us on Instagram, I'm teasing it for you guys. But these folks were here with us earlier in the season, and we were talking to one of them about their music and just like everything that they're doing out here in the community. But like it's just been, we talked about like their journey, and talked about how that journey has led into like success now, and like they're thriving, and it's still a struggle every day, right? But today, they're here now, and we're talking now about community and culture. And I wouldn't like want anybody else to kind of launch this segment with other than these two people. We're technically here to talk to one person because they're doing such amazing work in the film industry right now, and their work is actually being featured right now. So I hope that you guys, right after, our segment, you guys go and check that out. But I'm talking about the one and only Adriel Bernal. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing good. Thank you so much. Thanks for having us.
I can't really hear your mic. Can you speak a little closer to it?
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for asking. How are you?
I'm good.
Nice. I'm really glad to be back. So thank you for having us.
Thank you. And then here with you, we have Elektra La Gata.
Hi, babies.
Hi.
I miss y'all. So
Yes,
good to
thank you
see
for being
y'all.
here.
Thank y'all
Thank
for having
you.
me. Thank y'all for having us. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you guys for joining us. Like I said, we're coming into community and culture with Voces Unidas, and we're kind of talking about what does community and culture, and how does that merge? What does that mean to us as individuals, as like a collective, as a community? But yeah, like, what does that mean to you guys? Like, what does community and culture mean to you?
I'll go first if that's okay. Yeah, I think community and culture like that coexist with me. Like community is the people that support me, the people that uplift me, the people that are in my circle, and then culture it's just who I am. Like I like to say that I'm a proud trans Latino,
Mm-hmm.
and so whatever I am, I'm gonna stand by what I am, and I'm gonna do that and represent that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's super important. Community and culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Elektra?
Thank you so much for the question. That was beautifully said. I always say that I'm so proud to exist as a trans woman because I don't think I would have met the community that I have now if it wasn't for that. When I was on before and we had the conversation about drag and performance and all of that, it was through that I met so many people that are so near and dear to my heart now, who is like chosen family,
Mm.
and I wouldn't have those people that have been like essential to my existence. Honestly, essential to my existence.
I
And
love that.
I wouldn't be where I am if it wasn't for those people. So, to my chosen family, I love y'all so much. To my family, who's I'm really privileged and thankful that they're so supportive. But yeah, that's what community means to me. It's the love. I think if it was like one word for me, community and culture is just the love that I've received.
I love
And
that.
I always say the same thing that he does. That I'm a proud brown trans Latina woman, and I think representation like that is so essential.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It truly is.
And can I just say that, like, I think the culture that I'm seeing here is the culture of love.
Yes.
Beautifully
Ultimately, like, it's not about who you listen to, who you follow, what you buy, what you do, and who you do it with. But it's the people that are going to love you through those difficult moments. And I mean, just on the little bit that I've been learning about, because I'm also in a state of learning about how I can be supportive to the entire community. No, right? So just seeing the obstacles and the hurdles that the trans community has to overcome just so that they could do something that it's easy for me to do, easy for my partner to do. It's exponentially harder for folks in the trans community. And you can't really move forward without that love. So, I mean, and we'll talk about like Addy's film, but just the love that I witnessed in that film, it's easy to see how he's such a loving person and how you're so happy with your partner and how he's supportive, because it's that culture of love.
Nice.
That was so beautiful.
beautifully said.
I was just gonna jinx it. Beautifully said. Thank you so much. Can I want to give you props super quick if I may. Being an ally is more about actions than words, and I just value you so much for putting in the work and like putting in the research and like really wanting to learn about experiences that are not adjacent to yours. You know what I mean? That's what really means to me, like being an ally and really being supportive. And I've felt your love and support, and both of y'all, of course, like on this show. And it means a lot to me, and it means a lot to Adriel. So I just really wanted to give you your flowers for that.
Thank you. I mean, to be in all honesty, like I'm also learning, and for me, like we've been open and honest about. I think what we spoke first was with the Panda Hour when we came on, Tere and I, and it was for your segment, and we kind of shared about like I'm queer, but like I've had such a different experience being queer, and like certain things haven't impacted me as much as like other folks in the community, just because like my own preferences and my own like life choices. But that doesn't mean that I don't like feel for you guys, and that so like I am an ally in a different way, but like I'm still like being educated by like my friend who is completely like supportive of the community. Like I literally didn't know much about drag queens before my comadre. Like she's put me on music. She's put me like we went on a road trip earlier in the year, and some of like
You put on some Sasha Colby and it woke me up from a sleep.
I love that so much.
So, but the only
wouldn't,
reason I know that is because of my comadre.
Yeah.
So like it's just I've been empowered through her, and it's definitely been a journey of like learning, but it's been easier through like again my comadre doing the research, taking up the space on air to talk about these things, because I'm not gonna lie, sometimes like for me like it's not something that like I'm always comfortable like throwing myself into because of myself, not because of anything else. But like I wish I was more comfortable to like want to know more, to like but it's just like where I'm at in my life right now, and it's like it's nice to be learning organically in this way, and to be like to have my friends create space for me in these ways as well. And so with that being said, You know, Comadre, you set up a really nice segment for us today,
Yeah.
and I'm really excited to let like you just go ahead and.
Yeah, I mean, just watching Addy's film, it was very inspiring, and having to do a little bit of homework on my end because if I want to be a true ally, I can't, pretend like I know everything, right?
Mhm.
Like I have to learn and then also talk to the people that are living it. So,
Mhm.
um one of the things that I found out, um I mean, it's not something that I found out, but it wasn't surprising, I guess is what I'm trying to say, that it doesn't seem like the space for trans people has gotten better. I feel like they are more visible now.
Mm.
But there's still a lot of work to do.
Mhm.
Like the if we're going to talk about like how far it goes back, we can talk about Dr. Alan L. Hart,
Mhm.
and he was an Oregon physician, a researcher, a writer, and he was one of the first female to male transgender persons to undergo a hysterectomy in the United States and live the remainder of his life as a man. He was born in 1890 in Kansas,
Mm.
and he identified as a male, was attracted to women since childhood. In college, he secretly dated women but kept his true feelings secret. So this is all while they were still identifying as a woman. And but it was such a heavy secret, and they didn't really know what to do, so they sought guidance from a professor. They were in college. Allen Gilbert was the professor that they went to, and after weeks of talking to this professor, they finally felt comfortable enough to say really what was behind this heaviness. And but at first, Dr. Allen tried to fight it. They were like, no, like back in the early 1900s, the acceptance was just not there. So it was easier to say, I'm going to just try to be a woman. I'm going to just work through it, be a conventional woman. But it didn't work. And it was so heavy that Dr. Allen just was like, there's nothing left to live for.
Mm.
But around 1917, he began to transition, asked his professor for help. And this is a quote from Dr. Gilbert. It said, after treatment proved itself unavailing, she came in with a request that I help her finally prepare for the role of male in conformity with her real nature all these years. Hysterectomy was performed, hair was cut, complete male outfit was secured, and she made her exit as a female and started as a male with a new hold on life and ambitions worthy of her high degree and intellectuality. And now, living as a man, Alan also faced difficulties because one of the biggest things that ended up happening was he kept being recognized and he kept being outed. And these weren't just like outings that were like in his community. This was printed in paper.
Mm-hmm.
One of the headlines was Girl Poses as Male Doctor in Hospital. This is from February 5th, 1918 in the San Francisco Examiner. Intern unmasked as girl graduate of Oregon School. Woman poses as man. So Dr. Allen had no privacy. Even though he had achieved what he wanted to do, they were kept outing him. So he didn't have that freedom and peace that a lot of people have that we just take for granted. And so, the issue of privacy for a lot of people is a sensitive issue, like, so I don't know how else would you deny that person their existence. So, that was one of the things that I learned because it wasn't easy. So, if I may ask, has that been something that you've had to resonate with or deal with as far as like somebody just not respecting your truth? And how difficult was that? If you're okay with talking about that.
Yeah, no, thank you. First of all, thank you so much for that story. It was really beautiful and very vivid. Like, I feel for it. So thank you so much for sharing that. I think, yeah, like, when I was living as a woman, it was a little difficult to, like, keep my sexual identity private. And I feel like it's a struggle because it's like you're afraid to tell someone because you don't know how they're going to react, you know? they're gonna either be, oh, that's cool, or, oh, that's not cool. And for me, it's like I can't even tell my family who I'm supposed to trust, so I commend this doctor for like coming out and still being themselves.
It's so brave.
Yeah.
Because back then, like, this is 1900s.
Yeah.
And even women were having a hard time. Like, they couldn't vote.
Yeah.
We couldn't vote. We couldn't own property. So that oppression is so heavy. And like, it's like I said, I feel like there's still a lot of work to do. And we really believe we begin that by giving space to people to talk about their experiences and how we can support them. And and if I'm wrong or if I don't know about something, please teach me.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way that I'm going to learn. And nobody likes being wrong and nobody likes being corrected.
Yeah.
But it's so important.
And it's also important to learn about these things like publicly, because like there's a lot of people that might feel like curious to understand, but like it feels taboo to some people still, to be curious, because what does that mean if you're curious to know how these people live or how these other people live? It's like, no, like you should be curious, you should know, you should understand, and so it's important for us to learn in this way where we are holding space in these platforms and sharing our platforms, and some of us go more of that extra step, and some of us, like, all we can do, and I'm speaking for myself at the moment, is hold space, but regardless of where you're at in that journey, like it's what matters is that you're taking those steps, right? But yeah, thank you so much.
And we can also talk about a Danish painter named Lily Elby. And Lily was born in 1882. And Lily was one of the first ever documented recipients of sex. This is the wrong word, but reassignment surgery. I think this is a more appropriate word is reaffirming. And there was a movie called The Danish Girl, and that was based on.
I remember that one.
You've seen that movie?
Yeah, that one. I remember this movie when it came out.
What did you think about the movie?
It made me cry, like, so much, and I think it's just like very traumatizing, like just to like understand the mental, like to see the way that they struggled mentally, like grasping that they couldn't be who they wanted to be, and finally when that happened, it took their life. And
they underwent through several surgeries.
Yeah, it's very yeah. Can you please tell us the story?
Yeah, so so basically Lily, born male, lived a traditional life as a male, and ended up attending the Royal Danish Academy of Fine Arts. So that's like the top of the top, go up there, and dated a fellow student, Gerda, and they got married. And Gerda was very understanding of Lily before transitioning, and wasn't afraid of like putting her partner in like a, can you help me? Like, I need this done. Can you put this dress on? And can you help me because I need to paint? And Lily was like, okay, I'll put it on. And really began connecting some of those dots that were missing. And they lived together for a number of years, and they were very supportive of each other. So it's that like love, that like soul friendship love of understanding. But it was still like that deep sadness that Lily felt before transitioning. And unfortunately, a lot of the information about Lily Elby has been destroyed because Lily lived around the time where the Nazis were around. and the Nazis were seeking to basically erase everything and everyone that was not Aryan, right? So when they started to burn and destroy the place where Lily had her surgery, was the German Institute for Sexual Research. But it was ransacked, it was destroyed, it was bombed. So all of the information and all of the things that could have potentially helped people in the future with understanding the people, trans people, and giving them the space to exist, all of that was lost. So part of her history was lost. And it only not erased her story, but I feel like it also affected future generations, because then it became a little bit harder for them to start. Like there wasn't anything for them to pick up and take over.
Yeah.
They were like, okay, now we have to start over because we don't really know much about Lily's life.
And that this is just like that reminder that the fight for like trans rights is also about like preserving, you know, like, and honoring those lives that like did pave that way for all of us, you know, and like to have even the right to say like how much space are you going to hold for yourself as an individual, you know. But yeah, sorry, we're just reflecting a lot.
It's been such a journey of learning and understanding and being able to give performers also like the opportunity to be themselves, how they want to be. Like we have two artists, performers, that not only do they have to deal with the regular world that does not understand and is hard to change, but then they also have like their lives. Like you have to go to work, you have to pay your bills, you have family stuff. So it really makes me admire people for the strength that y'all have, because it's really a test of strength, I feel like.
Exactly. Thank you so much for that beautiful story. If I may, I always say, you know, being trans comes with so much bravery, because it's so brave to be authentically yourself. And those stories are so beautiful, and thank you for sharing that. I have a little knowledge about that story, and exactly like you said. Not only was history erased, it set us backwards, and that's why representation matters so much for trans people, because I always tell him, had I seen representation when I was younger, I would have transitioned a lot sooner. But I didn't have the resources, right? I didn't have people telling me, hey, it's okay that you feel a little bit different. Exactly. It's okay that you feel a little bit different. You know, I didn't have that community, like you said. And so that's why it literally took me to like my late 20s till I realized that it even existed, or that scratch that it was even a possibility. You know, and I think that ties it back full circle to exactly that story. It's like that person is so brave, and like I admire them so much because they made it a possibility for themselves. And that's beautiful, because everything starts somewhere, right? And I'm grateful for the opportunities that we have now and the resources that we have now, but even that is under attack now, you know?
Exactly.
And it's so frustrating that I have to fight for my existence, but I always say, like, I don't even want to survive, I want to thrive, you know? I that's why I'm back to what you're saying about artistry. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. And that's why I'm not shying away from saying, like, I'm a trans rapper, I'm a trans artist, like, because people need to see that.
Yes.
And people need to see that it's possible to do that. And so that story really resonated with me. Thank you so much for saying that.
That kind of reminds me of what Dolora was saying yesterday on the Voces Unidas show, when we were talking about resiliency. And it's like kind of like that conversation of like, we don't really want to be resilient. Like, we're tired of being resilient. Like, we're tired of having to have thick skin and have grit. And like, why can't we be soft? Why can't we be gentle? Why can't we like just exist and not have to like have all these extra layers to protect ourselves, you know, like, and that's the goal. That's, you know, what we want is to one day hopefully be able to just exist and thrive But yeah. I also want to remind everyone that you guys are tuned into Las Comadres on KROJ 101.5 FM. You guys are listening to us from live from the city of San Fernando. We're here in the Pueblo y Salud offices, and we are, just kind of having these conversations about, sorry guys, honestly, whenever we get into these conversations, I kind of get a little flustered. I want to say that's probably the right word. And it's like coming from a place of not fully understanding my own self. And I just want to be fully transparent about that. A lot of these conversations bring me to like almost a quiver. Like I want to cry, and it's
Same.
my comadre sent me the show notes a couple of days ago, like I would say before the weekend. So I had some time to kind of like look over and read over, but I automatically knew like I don't really know much about what we're talking about. And so when I did see Lily, I did know like, well, like this is gonna hurt. But yeah, I just, again, comadre, thank you.
No,
but
thank
go
you
ahead.
for giving me the space to learn, and for both of you being
Mhm.
just the most amazing human beings. And this isn't just to like, oh, you guys are great, and I don't really believe that. I do believe that.
Mhm.
And I'm so excited to see not only your career thriving, but Addy, the film contest, top
Yeah.
10.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
That's so amazing, and I just I can already visualize you winning the grand prize.
Mhm.
I literally said that this morning.
Okay,
I
see, so
literally
that's
said that this
already
morning.
in
Yes.
the ethos. It's out
I
there.
already have the blessings and the manifestation. No, yeah, I mean, it was no doubt like when we started with 50s, and I saw some of the films and I was like, okay, I got to see the competition. But me as a filmmaker, I like films that touch you and have a meaning.
Yeah.
So when I see my film against these other ones, I'm like, I have something here, and
Yeah.
I believe so much in my film, and like Elektra has said, we're the only Latino and trans film, and for the vice presidents even told me like, hey man, this is a really good story, like reach out to your community to
Mhm.
support you. It means a lot, and I deserve that spot.
You do.
Yeah.
I tell her if I'm carrying this boat, I'm the only like trans Latino, then I'm honored to do it, and I'm gonna do everything in my humanly possible to get my foot up there.
I love
Absolutely.
Someone always has to do it
that.
first.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not gonna be easy,
No.
Nope.
you know. And
Never is.
can I ask you, Addy, would you say that this is a positive moment that reaffirms your experience as a trans Latino man?
The competition.
Yeah.
100%. The film itself, it affirms me. Like when people see it and they see me, they see my soul, and they accept me for who I am. It's such a beautiful feeling. Like kind of like what you said, Elektra. Like just to be an ally is such a beautiful thing. To have that compassion and love and support, it's so affirming. I mean, any human needs affirmation. So, as a trans person, it just means like even more, more love. So it was super affirming.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
And I mean, I can't even imagine like how that feels for little Addy inside. The little boy
Aw.
that has always been there.
That always gets me so emotional.
That
always gets
you
me
know,
so emotional.
Nancy was there.
Yeah.
Nancy came in and did her thing, but really it was truly little Addy in there that has always been there. And for you to take care of that little person and keep loving little Addy and giving little Addy that opportunity to shine, where there were moments, I'm sure that you, because I've had moments where I'm just like, I don't really know if I can do this. I don't really know
Yup.
if I deserve it.
Mhm.
I don't really know if I should
Yeah.
do this. So it's such a, again, brave, courageous thing to not just accept yourself as a trans Latino man, but also put it out there
Yeah.
for people to look at your story. And just like Elektra said, that video is gonna land on somebody's playlist or suggested videos, and that could be the one that just be like, oh, this person has that same experience, so I'm not feeling weird, like I'm not crazy. So it's just so beautiful to see your experience and to be part of it. It's just amazing. What do you think, Diosy?
I'm just
To be part of this experience.
I'm like honestly trying not to cry.
Same.
But I want to just give you guys space to speak. Elektra, to like I like I don't know. I don't really have much to say other than like I watched the film. I was really touched by it, and I hope to see more representation. And I just hope to continue learning with y'all, to continue holding space with y'all. And yeah, like I just want to hear from you guys, honestly. I want to hear, like, I guess from Addy, like leading up to like creating the film, like how did you take care of your mental health? And because like this is like a lot.
It's very heavy.
So
stuff
like
to talk
that
about.
to me, I think that's more of like where I'm wondering, because that's where I'm at. Like it's heavy, like dealing with like yourself in that way. And like like I love my life currently. Like I'm in a relationship with, you guys know my partner, and so I think like I love my partner, but like there's always that part of you that wonders like, oh, what would life be like? And but it's like you can't really think about it much, and because you are happy where you're at, and like those are the questions where like sometimes it gets a little like weird in your head. And this is just full transparency. Like I this is not to say that like I have any questions or doubts about the person that I'm with, but this is why it gets scary to think about these things and to have these conversations, because people's feelings are involved and people's livelihoods are involved. Like you're building a future with somebody. So anyway, that's a whole side tangent on myself, which is not why we're here. But with you, like that's why I want to know, like, how did you take care of your mental health, and how have you like kind of done that throughout your transition and going into making this film about your transition and like kind of reopening those like wounds again?
Wow, this is a beautiful question, because mental health is like super important. It's the first thing you need to go in. So it was a lot of work. It was a month of just writing, coming up with the concept, thinking, doing these storyboards. What do I want to tell? What do I want to show? And so I knew for a fact I didn't want to do like too much like trauma, but the story does stem from trauma. So I know that's a key point. And I knew that this is a big thing. I was super vulnerable. Like I was telling Lecture, I was like, there was questions that like I even talked about like sexual assault, and I had to take some stuff out because I was like, I don't want it to get mixed up.
Yeah.
And I want to just give out what I feel like, okay, this is the point,
Yeah.
Not too much, not too little. So, honestly, I think the encouragement from the community really kept me like accountable and motivated, everyone was just supportive, and it was difficult because I didn't have a partner at the time. I was literally finding myself, and so I was staying up late, trying to get this thing down, and at the end of the day, I did this for me. I said, even though this is a story about me coming out to the world, basically saying, surprise, I'm trans, it was for me, like, to see that footage of like my younger self as as a female. It was so beautiful, and it was, I think, the heart of the story. And so when I chose to go that route, I was like, even though this is difficult, I just got to do it. And it was my favorite part. Like you said about little Addy, there's the last scene before the movie ends, and I love it. It's just, it's, my younger self, she says, remember, I'll always love you. And every time I just look at it, I'm like, like I know she's in there, and it's just like, Whew. And literally every screening I go to, I always cry in that part. And even in the editing, I was crying in that part. My mom cries. Everyone, a lot of people cry in that part because it's just so beautiful to be able to love someone, but let them go.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, I think it was healing as well.
Yeah.
But I mean, I took care of myself as best as I could.
Yeah.
And I was like, if I go in this, with a big heart, speak with my chest, what can possibly go wrong? And it,
we're here.
Yeah, like
We're here.
You're here representing.
Yeah.
You know, you're here speaking your story, and you have a wonderful, supportive partner and a community that loves you.
Completely different reality now.
Yeah.
And I think that's like where it's inspiring. It's like you're like in like you could have only dreamed of like where you're at right now.
That's
and
what
like,
I was saying. Yeah, like it feels like I had to go through that.
Yeah.
Get out of that, find myself. And like you said, like to be able to love someone, like first love myself first, and then once the love within me is pouring, then I can share that love with someone that also knows themselves and loves themselves for who they are. And I'm really grateful for you.
I love you so much.
Yeah. You guys are just so inspiring.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, I feel like just watching you two, I can tell that your relationship is effortless.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that it's not hard, that you won't have those moments where...
Crying. I'm literally full-blown crying, you guys. I'm like, because it's just so beautiful. Like, you guys are like...
And I think, and that's why we had been looking forward to talking to you guys about anything and everything that we could, because it's so important for us to give you the space to speak your truth and tell us what it's like. I don't want to pretend to know how difficult it is. I can only imagine, but this is needed.
Yeah, and like also like just like learning about like Elektra's journey the last time, and like also learning about Elektra like on the Panda Hour. Like it's just been a journey of like kind of following you guys, and now hearing like this part of the story, and kind of now knowing you guys as a couple, and like I'm just so proud of you, and I'm so happy for you, and I'm it's beautiful. It truly is beautiful. It is.
And that this is the thing that just drives me up the wall. It's how can anybody say that two people loving each other, helping each other grow and be better people, how can that be wrong?
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that's just like one of those moments where it feels like I just want to. My partner said it the other day. He was like, it's like banging your head against the wall. Like I just want to bang my head against the wall because it's leave people alone to do what they need to do.
Yes.
Respect.
That's so beautifully said. If I may again, I think I verbatim say that often where when we're talking about just being able to exist, that like, Dan, do we have to be resilient all the time? Like as trans people, do we have to have thick skin all the time? And sometimes I just want to exist. And I've literally said to so many people, like, if y'all don't mess with me, then just leave me alone. If you don't vibe with me, then just leave me alone. Because at the end of the day, I'm just trying to like protect my happiness and my circle and everything that I fought so hard for to obtain. And when we're telling those stories about these historical figures that were so important to trans existence, and fast forward to where we are now, it's still insane to me that people don't really comprehend and don't have compassion like y'all do when we're talking about trans people, like surgeries and hormones and all these affirming things. We talk about it all the time, are life-changing and life-saving. And often, and unfortunately, the alternative is that we don't want to exist on the planet anymore. And we both have had, I hope it's okay to say, baby, we both have had that experience at one point in our lives where we were literally contemplating like not being on this planet.
Right.
Because I could not exist in that body any longer. I could not live the lie that I was living. You couldn't be yourself.
And I couldn't exist. And so when I was like, I have to exist as my authentic self and be brave and do it for myself, and for my sanity. To your point, I don't understand how people can see someone just trying to exist and be happy as an issue for anyone else, as if anyone has any right to police anyone else's body, you know?
Yeah, and that's where it starts to get scary because we're entering into a new administration that all that stuff that you were just talking about, the gender affirming care, all that stuff is going to be gone. Like the access is going to be gone, and not just to minimize the issues of the trans community, but like also like women in general, like access to
100%,
so
100%.
this is the time where I feel like we need to support each other and give each other strength and back each other up, because the next couple of years is going to be hard, but it doesn't mean that it's going to be lonely, because we are building that community and that culture of love to help us through these times.
That was so beautifully said. And I think to tie it back again to what you said about coming at things with compassion, that's why I'm so grateful for the platform that y'all provide, because I know you often say, both of y'all, like, oh, we don't have the answer, so thank y'all for being, like, kind. And it's like, nah, like, y'all are providing platforms to trans Latinos, you know? Like, you're providing a platform for us to share our stories and for us to talk about compassion and you know, how life-saving gender-affirming care can be. So thank you so much just for having that. But like you said, everything's interconnected, right? Like, with misogyny, like that women go through, with everything that any minority in this country goes through, it really is just about banding together and building movement and like utilizing each other's strengths, you know, and in a time that may feel a little bit lonely. We're not lonely. We have each other.
We feel lonely, and I think that's where society in general will make you feel like you're the only one and you're lonely. But then we come into spaces like Voces Unidas in Pacoima that is providing that space for people, that where it's like, okay, well, maybe we don't look the same, we don't think the same, we don't like the same things, but we live in the same community, we're neighbors, and what can I do to help you? We forget a lot of that interconnectedness that community has. You always talk about, Diosy, how like, were they mycelium? What were you?
Mycelium?
Yep. The roots and the ground.
Mushrooms.
How they are all interconnected.
No,
that you can't see them.
Yeah, we can't. But like,
they're
there's a network. There's this network, and it's all interconnected. Everything. But you know, I think we're gonna go on a little break. But I do have a question for y'all, and maybe we can go into the break so you guys can kind of think of this.
Yeah.
But I want to know, like, for your each individual experience, what has been the most affirming moment in your transition? So, with that, we'll go ahead and tune into Locals Only, Las Comadres on Spotify. Thank you again, Alex Infinity. Again, you guys can tune in on Spotify for that. And you guys are tuned into Las Comadres on KROJ 101.5 FM. We'll be right back, y'all. What's up, everyone? We're back with Las Comadres. I am Comadre Diosy, and I'm here with
Comadre Maria.
And we are a segment of Voces Unidas on KROJ 101.5 FM, produced by Valley Views SFE Media and Voces Unidas in Pacoima. And today we're here. We're joined by Addy and Elektra, good friends of the show, good friends of ours. And right before we went on break, I asked them, in their experience, what has been the most affirming moment in their transition. And so in no particular order, whoever wants to go first, go ahead and share.
Thank you so much again for the beautiful question. And like I said before, I really wanted to say it on air for providing such a beautiful space and such an affirming space. So I really needed to say that. I've talked about this before with Adriel. The first time that I really felt like a gender euphoric moment, and when the trans gears started turning in my head, was when, I don't think I told the story last time, I did a drag competition for the first time. I was at UCSB. It was like 10 years ago. But it was the first time I was doing drag, period. And I met this beautiful, beautiful soul that I have not been able to find yet. Her name was Stephanie. If you're hearing this, like, I adore you. You literally saved my life. She's the first person that put me in drag. She's the first person that put makeup on me. She gave me a dress. She gave me high heels. And it was at a point in my life where I felt really alone, like literally so isolated from everybody. And she came up to me, befriended me. And when I told her, hey, I want to do this drag competition, what is it about? She went with me to the competition. She let me keep everything that she let me borrow. And I joined the competition and I won.
Oh my gosh.
And so for it to be my first one and win was really beautiful. And I think that really skyrocketed everything after that because I felt so euphoric. I didn't want to take the wig off. Like back then I had super short hair, you know. I didn't want to take the wig off. I didn't want to take the dress off, the heels, the makeup. And like, not that all of that makes a woman, but for me, who didn't have access to those things, you know, little Elektra didn't have access to those things. For me, they feel so big. We say this a lot. Like, little things to some folks, for trans folks, feel so big.
Yeah.
And when I finally had an access to a dress and I felt like beautiful,
Yeah.
it was amazing. So I think that was the first moment. And then after that, just my whole career has just been constant reaffirming. And now that I'm a trans rapper, I'm a trans artist, it's just like such a full circle moment. You know, I haven't been able to find her, but I'm sure I will someday. Yeah.
Can't wait till that day.
Yeah.
Full circle moment.
She'll probably be at one of your shows.
She probably will.
I hope so. That would be so like I hope somebody finds her.
Me too.
What event was that? Did you say
It was a like amateur drag competition at UCSB. So it was like a
How
like
many
a
years
college,
ago was that?
like 10 years ago.
10 years ago.
Yeah. It
so
was quite a while. But they had every now and then they would have a amateur drag competition.
Thank you, Stephanie, for creating this goddess that we have here in our studio.
It was the shift that Elektra needed.
Yes.
Yeah, when you told me that story, it was so vivid, it was so beautiful.
Can you do me a favor and lift your mic? Yeah, right there.
There we go. Good?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, cool. Yeah, when you told me that story, I was just like, it's such a beautiful story. So I'm glad you got to experience that.
Thanks, Steve.
I think for me, the moment that I felt like, I guess when I heard my name, Adriel, for the first time, when I heard Sir, when I heard him, and even though I was still like in the beginning of my transition, just to have like someone see me for me, like the way I'm presenting myself was beautiful. When my family accepted me, like I shared in my short film, you know, like I met community, that was so beautiful in itself, you know.
And can I just say how beautiful it was to have your family in the film?
Yeah.
And I really liked, like you said earlier, like you had to figure out like what to keep and what to get rid of, like how you wanted to tell your story. And I really appreciated that you did talk about the struggles and the hardships, and especially like with your family, like them just adjusting to your reality.
Yeah.
I like that you didn't dwell on that too much. Not that like we don't like, not that that's not a valid like experience that you had, but it was part of the story of ultimately who you are as a man, right? Like it was part of your story, and it was beautiful to see your family be so supportive, from your dad to your mom and your brother. And when your brother said, like, I still love you no matter, like, you know, you're just my brother now. Like, that is such an affirming and accepting feeling. And especially, like, early in the beginning, I'm sure it was not easy for you to just say it. So I think that
and
was
seeing
beautiful.
your dad, too, like, I'm so proud of him, my son. Like, that was
probably, like, one of the very first times you've ever said that. So to just be affirmed as a son, well, as a child in general, like, that I'm proud of you, was wow. And then to say son, or when he says chamaco, mijo, you know, to this day he'll sometimes say my name, Adriel, Sometimes he'll still call me Nancy. Um, and right now, we have like a weird relationship, and that's life. But as long as he knows like who I am,
Mm-hmm.
and that's really all that matters.
And I feel like, I have a strained relationship with my mother, and that is so true for me.
Yeah.
Like,
Your parents
that
are.
is so true for me. Like, as long as you know who I am,
That's all you need
as
to know.
that's all that I care about.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to hide nothing about me from you. And so
I love
you
that.
you could be mad. That's okay. But I'm not gonna hide.
Thank you so much for saying that. Yeah, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Like right now, I have an strained relationship. If I'm being completely honest.
Mm-hmm.
But it has nothing to do with my gender.
Yeah.
It's just parents.
Just
know?
parents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I know like if they go tomorrow, they know who I am.
Yeah.
You know? So and I'm not gonna be like, dang, I should have told him, or
Yeah.
no, I did it.
Yeah.
and
You're living
I
your
did it,
truth
yeah.
and all, like,
Oof.
and all that means. And
Yep.
like I think as human beings, like, your truth matters the most to like that immediate family, like your parents, your siblings, and just so, like, I mean, we're so proud of you. Like, we're proud of you for being who you are, for living in your full, like, authentic self. But thank you so much for sharing, your guys's, affirming moments, and like those moments are very impactful, and we're really grateful that you guys both had these experiences, and that you're able to be here to share with us. Comadre, I don't know if you have anything to add to that, but
It's just admiration. I think is the thing that comes to my mind at first is admiration for the resilience. I know we were just talking about like we don't want to be resilient all the time, but I think it's a quality that we've been blessed and cursed with.
Right. Beautifully said.
So the resilience, the bravery, and also, and I don't know how this would even sound like, but I really appreciate that you are taking your entire story from beginning to your reality.
Yeah.
When I know that can be such a sensitive subject for a lot of trans people, is when they're just trying to be who they are and not who they've been forced to be with or live as. It's so brave that you're taking power, and just the title. You're Dear Nancy.
Yeah.
Love Addy. So that's just like the bravery and the admiration for the resiliency and the grace that both of you have with this too. Like with your experience with storytelling and being vulnerable community members and activists. Like, I know you describe yourself as a filmmaker, but I consider you an activist because you are speaking out and you are representing a positive representation of trans people in the media and pop culture, and celebrating that you are in a film competition that is going to continue to further highlight and have that as a moment in history where there was this one little person, like this one grain of sand that just added to the entire pile and made it possible for other folks to be brave like you are. So I think if there's anything that I'm going to say is thank you for your bravery. It's very inspiring because although, like, I don't know, I may seem kind of outgoing sometimes, but I'm like so not outgoing. I'm so not brave. So to see that people like you can have the resiliency and the grace and the just everything you do is with love. And I appreciate that because that's what the world needs right now. We need a lot more love and understanding and coming from a place of kindness. And so thank you for being open, being patient, and just helping us learn and be better human beings.
Yeah, and for being so gentle, both of you, with like everyone, with us, I think that's something that's also felt like really, it just felt really nice, like, getting to know you guys. Like, the conversations have been so like easygoing, and again, the like you guys always allow us to learn alongside y'all. So coming into like the last 10 minutes of our segment right now, I really want to give you guys just like the opportunity, more you, Addy, to add anything that we might have like missed, that maybe you came in here thinking like, I want to share this with folks. You know, is there anything that like you came in here specifically with like a thought in mind?
How can we support you?
Yeah, how can we support you?
You know what? Beautiful question. First of all, I just want to say y'all already supporting me by having me in this safe space, by listening to me, by giving me a platform to speak, you know, about these issues. So, and by being allies, advocates, you know, educators, leaders. So really, thank y'all, because you know, you guys give me the flowers, and I'm like,
You deserve them.
Yeah.
it takes
need
one to
them.
know one. Thank you. I really appreciate that. But no, yeah, I mean, trans stories are very important. As you mentioned the movie. So this is real life. You know, this is really important. This is crucial, especially like I said, like in this America, especially in this time. Anytime, honestly, because it's scary to do something so simple as be yourself. But when you do it, it feels so good. You know, it's like when you don't want to go to the gym, but you do it, and you look good, and you feel good. So I like to say that life's like about suffering. It really is. But you just got to pick, like, your battles. Yeah. You got to pick what's worth suffering for. And so I shared this art piece with the world, and I just want the same love and support that like I put into this piece. So if y'all could watch it, I mean, y'all did. I saw you did, Richard. But for those of you listening out there, from my family, friends, anyone else, new people, share it. And yeah, like, support trans stories, because it's really important. I can't emphasize enough. Especially as an independent artist too, and Latino, like, we don't come from like a lot of resources. We don't have this. I literally produced that 10-minute film in a month with me and my cousin.
Yeah.
And so people have tremendous resources, and they make movies, but what's the meaning behind it?
Yeah.
Like, why are we watching this? You gotta make something to entertain people, but also educate people.
Yes.
And community is all about learning and being there for each other. Because without community, yeah, we feel alone. And so I'll let my manager do the promotion.
Yeah, it sounds
But-
perfect.
You're a PR person.
I really am. No, that was beautifully said. I echo everything that Adriel said. But yes, we are in the Momi 2 short film competition. Like y'all mentioned, we started at a top 50, and it's been a month-long competition. And so every week there's been eliminations. So top 50, top 30, and now we're in top 10. And so I'm so proud of us. Like Adriel said, we did do a lot of work.
Yeah.
So I'm grateful of all the hard work we've put in to be here. But I'm also grateful for all of our friends and family in the community who has been showing up for us so much. And it fills my heart with so much joy and so much gratitude that the people who tell me, like, I'm going to show up when you need me, actually show up when I need them, you know? And I just feel so immensely grateful. We have until December 21st for this last round. This is the ultimate. This is the finals. We're up against 9 other films, but like I said, and I'm saying this in the classiest way possible, while other people may have like resources production-wise and stuff like that, I feel like ours has a lot of heart. Ours has so much heart and so much truth, and it's tying it back to exactly what you were saying, it's like a historical piece. It's going to live on, and it's going to resonate with so many trans people that we haven't even met yet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that's so beautiful. We haven't even met how many people this is going to touch and inspire. Exactly.
That's what I'm like.
It's gonna be
I
that
can't
shift.
wait to see like the people
trans
that were like moved
Yeah.
to like step into their journey.
Yeah, I've had the privilege to have it screened, and the amount of people that come up and tell me, it just, it's such a beautiful feeling to be like, oh, I saw you, and we connect on this thing, and just to hear their kind words, it's such a beautiful thing. And then thanks to this platform, like, we're global. I have my people in Guadalajara are watching and voting, and
Beautiful.
That's exciting.
yeah. So
That's
I'm like,
so exciting.
and I even shot them out in the credits because they've been so supportive. And even when we went to Guadalajara, we
Yeah.
talked last time, they all were like, they loved her, and they were like, we love you no matter what, like no matter what you are. Well,
The
not what you
first
are,
time
but-
I went to a drag show was in Guadalajara.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
We went to the queer bars there, and they were so much fun.
They're so fun.
Drinks are
such beautiful people, like such beautiful people. His family was really beautiful too. We all like just fell in love with each other. Like, come back, please. And again, super supportive. Like, calling him so affirming. Like calling him a handsome man, calling me a beautiful woman,
Oh.
calling us a beautiful couple. And I was like, that's so incredible.
beautiful.
But yes, if you could vote, if you could please vote for us.
week.
We have posts on both of our social medias on Instagram on how to vote and how to stream. So you can vote once per week, and then you can stream as much as you like throughout the week. And it's basically weighted how they're doing the final decision. So
Yeah.
it's like voting and streaming is one half, and then
It's like-
another half is judges that are going to be coming in to judge all 10 of the films.
Yeah, so it's like super important. I mean, I say this, and I'm proud of saying I stream my film and I watch it, and like I'll literally be sitting there and I'll find these nuances to it, and I'll be like, wow, this is a really, like, there's so many moments in the film that I'm like, oh my god, there's a family, there's a this, there's a freedom, there's a hope, then there's this, the emotional part. It's like, wow. And then the empowering part, I'm like, oh my god, all in 10 minutes. Wow.
Yes.
I was just gonna say when I put it on, I was fully ready to be like, okay, short film, thinking 30, 45
Yeah.
minutes. I'm like, I'm ready. Like, I told my partner, I'm like, we're gonna watch this.
Uh-huh.
We sat down, and then it was like 10 minutes. I'm like,
Yeah, huh.
oh my god. I was like,
We
10
want more.
minutes? I was like,
Yeah.
is there another episode?
I'm
That's
like,
why
reality.
we need the grant.
Yeah.
So that's a beautiful segue. Super quick. That's a beautiful segue. I was gonna say if, but when we win the prize money,
Yes,
that is actually literally what we're gonna use it for, to
no
continue
way.
it. So that was the short film, and what Adriel wants to do is a series.
Expand it.
He wants to expand it. He wants to create a whole series full of episodes about what is it gonna be about, baby?
Oh yeah, so it's gonna be like my transgender experience, but like in the documentary, I told my story. So what I want to do is I want to like switch the lens and then just like have like my experience. But I also, you know, when you told me that touching story about Stephanie, like I also wanna, cause I wanna incorporate T for T love,
Yeah.
and I wanna like show like our love and then your story as well. So I wanna encapsulate like so much trans joy.
Oh.
But I also wanna do I guess I would consider the hardship that I went through, so I can heal as a human, because we heal with art.
Yeah.
Because yeah, it's still in me, and I know that situation happened for a reason, but I still I feel like I need to tell my story
Yeah.
and show that.
Express it through art.
Yeah.
There's still so much to talk about and to learn, and I can totally see this at on World of Wonder Network.
Oh yeah, no, we're thinking Tubi, you know, we're already on Momentum.
Netflix, you know.
Yeah, Netflix. I've got a no from them before, but you know.
We'll call RuPaul. We'll tell him.
I know.
I
I look-y got, yeah.
I saw those pictures. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
they went to
Okay.
a WOW event.
I'm on their emailing list.
Okay. If you ever need a +1 and Addy is not available,
I got
please
you.
call me.
I got you.
I will drive you. You can drink as much as you can.
Oh, say less.
I'll
Sorry,
buy you a
honey.
burger afterwards.
Perfect.
No, Comadre Tere will take care of you.
Oh, that's so
Trust.
cute.
Don't even.
Oh,
yeah.
that's so cute.
No,
I'm the
if there's
designated
anyone you want to
driver.
take, it's Comadre Tere. For real.
I'll get you there and back.
She'll, yeah.
In one piece.
That's
No,
so
and,
beautiful.
and she'll truly like engulf the joy with you. So
It's so beautiful.
that's the part right there. But You guys are tuned into KROJ 101.5 FM. We're coming to you live from our studios here at Pueblo y Salud in the city of San Fernando. We are Las Comadres, a segment of Voces Unidas, and we're produced by Valley Views SFE Media and Voces Unidas in Pacoima. I am Comadre Diosy.
Comadre Maria.
And
Joined by, oh, go ahead, you
No,
first.
ladies first. My bad. My bad.
Joined by Comadre Elektra La Gatita.
Oh.
El Compa Addy.
Addy, La Comadre Elektra.
And you guys can tune in to Voces Unidas next Monday. But before us, on Sunday, Valley Views will be on. And, we'll catch you guys on the waves next time. This is us signing out. Bye.
Bye, everyone.